Is it time to tear down the process and start again in the city of brotherly love? Let's talk about it. The Philadelphia 76ers are having a truly abysmal season. They are currently 23-56. That is, I should say, good enough. That is bad enough for the fifth worst record in all of the NBA. It was recently announced within the last week that both Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid would be shut down for the remainder of the season, joining the third member of the Big Three, completing the trifecta, Paul George, who has been out since early March for the 76ers. Joel Embiid, and all of this prompted me to ask a very important question. The process, as Joel Embiid famously coined it back in 2017, after they drafted Ben Simmons first overall, the process has been an abysmal failure by pretty much anyone's standards, but especially a city and a fan base as ruthless and unforgiving as Philadelphia. To recap some of that, Joel Embiid was drafted in 2014 in the first round by the Philadelphia 76ers. Injuries sidelined him for the entirety of his first two NBA seasons, so his official rookie year was 2016. Around the time, they brought in Ben Simmons. Expectations were high for these two players to be playing together. Joel Embiid was considered one of the best prospects coming out of college basketball at the time, prior to his 2 years of injury. Ben Simmons was garnering comparisons to Magic Johnson thanks to his size and his play at LSU. And I think it's safe to say that ever since then, it has been nothing short of a disappointment. From the outside, to a casual fan, you'd be like, oh, they were a regular playoff team. That's not a disappointment. But for a team in Philadelphia that has had its share of stars and has lacked a championship for decades, the process, as it was called by Joel Embiid somewhat tirelessly to NBA fans, took longer than they'd hoped and never really came to the fruition they were expecting. In the years since they drafted and ultimately broke up with Ben Simmons, the Philadelphia 76ers have not so much as played a single game in the conference finals. You could call them, if you will, the NBA's version of the Dallas Cowboys. All the talk, all the expectation, none of the appearances in the conference championship arena. So that begs the question, do they tear down the process? Do they start over? They're going to have a top pick this year. They're going to have a good shot at winning the lottery. And because they have a good shot at winning the lottery, players like Cooper Flagg, Janai Broome, and others are going to be out there. So my thought is, do they tear it down? Just a couple of years removed from his MVP, that seemed to be the most important thing that he could possibly do on an NBA court, Joel Embiid still has value in this league. Paul George, although dwindling due to age, still has value in this league. What I would do personally, I would hang on to Tyrese Maxey, build around him, use the top pick to supplement him, whether it's Cooper Flagg or Janai Broome or LJ Cryer or whoever else, to supplement and pair with Tyrese Maxey. But Joel Embiid, his time in Philadelphia has mostly been a vanishing act. I do think when Joel Embiid is healthy, he's one of the best players in the league. He was deserving of that 2023 MVP, although some would argue he got that MVP simply because people were tired of handing it to Nikola Jokic, who had won it the previous 2 years and won it the year after. But I definitely think he was deserving of that honor that he's so publicly said he was chasing his whole career, and he got it. And then when the NBA instituted a minimum number of games that you can have to be eligible for awards, it seemed that the most vocal person who voiced their displeasure was Joel Embiid. And when you look at, and yes, I'm counting his first 2 seasons, although that might seem a little bit unfair, but if we're talking about games that he's missed, he missed 2 complete seasons. If we're talking about ability, if we're talking about the cornerstone of a franchise, if we're talking about the leader of a city and a team and a fan base and an organization that expects to win, and this might be an overused saying these days, but it really is important when you're talking about players like Joel Embiid, the best ability is availability. And when you factor in Joel Embiid's entire career, and yes, as I said, this may be unfair because he missed 2 full seasons due to injury at the beginning. Joel Embiid has only played in 452 of a possible 902 career games. That is 50.1%. As I said, may not be fair. He missed the first 2 seasons completely with injury, but if we're talking about availability, all injuries and all missed games need to be taken into account. So if you're going to count the rest of the injuries, you might as well count the games missed due to injury before he even played. Those count. He's only played in half the games he's been on the roster for. He's been being paid by the 76ers for 11 years, and he's only played 50% of the games. They need better from that position. They need better in the playoffs. And then you go to all the drama that took place with James Harden, where he wanted out because he wanted to join Philadelphia because at first he wanted to rejoin Daryl Morey, who had been in Houston during his prime years with the Rockets. But that quickly deteriorated when it came time for contract talks. He called Daryl Morey a liar, and he didn't want to be on any team that Daryl Morey was associated with, quickly requested to be traded, and now he's on the Clippers. But when you add that drama into the on-the-court stuff, or in Joel Embiid's case, not on-the-court stuff, there's just too much dysfunction right now with the current version of the Philadelphia 76ers, and this seems like the perfect time to hit the reset button. As I mentioned, Embiid, out. Maxey, out. Paul George, out. They're 23 and 56. They have the 5th worst record in the NBA. They're going to have a lottery pick. They're going to have a shot at the first overall pick. And Cooper Flag is out there. Janai Broome is out there. This is a pretty deep draft when it comes to prospects in general. Again, outside of Cooper Flag, Cooper Flag is clearly going to be the top pick in this draft. And there may not be as many names at the top as we've seen from other drafts in years past. But I do believe that this is a deep draft. I believe players like Janai Broome and Walter Clayton Jr. and LJ Cryer really cemented that they could be good NBA players. And Mark Sears could be a heck of a scorer at the next level, the point guard for Alabama. It's a deep pool of talent, I feel like, in this upcoming draft. And Philadelphia will be drafting pretty highly thanks to their horrible record. There has never been a better time for Philadelphia to hit the reset button and finally put an end, however mercifully, to the process, which never really ran smoothly in the first place. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Philadelphia 76ers, and do you think it's time for them to tear it down and start over? Until next time, I'm Roman Gennaro. This is Empire Sports Talk. It's a good day to go 1-0, unless you're the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'll see you on the next one.